Good afternoon. I'd like to call the Finance, Ways and Means Committee to order for April 5th, 2022. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Representatives Campbell, Camper, Crawford, Faison, Freeman, Gant, Garrett, Gillespie, Hawk, Hicks, Hodges, Lamberth, Lynn, Miller, Ogles, Sexton, Shaw, Sparks, Todd, Whitson, Williams, Wendell, Zachary, Vice Chairman Baum, Chair Lady Hazelwood.
Here.
Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there any personal orders or announcements before we get underway? Seeing none, we do have 15 bills on our calendar today, so we will begin at the beginning with item number 1, House Bill 2149 by Chairman Hofford. Chairman Hofford, you are recognized. We have a motion and a second. Chairman, I believe there's an amendment on your bill, drafting code 016944 is what I show.
I believe that's right, Madam Chairman, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, this was a different bill. I apologize. I'm sorry for the confusion. We were going to get our ducks lined up here shortly.
Okay, great.
We had one duck out of order, but it's back, and now we're ready to focus on your bill and
Great.
not another one. So, Chairman Hofford, you are recognized. You do have a motion and a second, so just tell us what your bill does.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. And House Bill 2149 simply transfers control of the Carroll County 1,000-acre lake, recreation lake, to TWRA and moves it away from the Carroll County Watershed Authority. It is currently the Carroll County Watershed is responsible for the care and oversight of the lake, its buildings, its other assets, and so on and so forth. For several years, it has become apparent that the management of this state asset is not adequately handled by the Carroll County Watershed, and so this is an effort to relieve that. And I believe that you will find that there is a line item in the budget that will take care of the financial situation of this bill.
That's very true, and that's why we can vote on this bill, because it is funded, and the governor's, we have a question on the bill. Any objection to calling the question? Seeing none, we're voting on House Bill 2149, moving on to calendar and rules. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Chairman Hofford?
Got our ducks in a row now?
Ducks are in a row, and they'll be swimming on the Carroll County Lake.
Thank you.
Item number 2 on our calendar is House Bill 2153 by Chairman Haston. Have a motion and a second.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm glad. Do I have an amendment with this, or is it already traveling with it?
It's traveling with it.
Okay. This is an administration bill, glad to carry. This computer science bill helps to make sure our students are better prepared for technology jobs by setting rigorous standards for computer science education, requiring course offerings, and providing free professional development for Tennessee educators. With that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
You've heard the sponsor's explanation. Are there questions? Seeing none, we're voting on House Bill 2153. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. House Bill 2153 moves on to calendar and rules. Item number 3 on our calendar is also by Chairman Haston, House Bill 1860. We have a motion and a second. Chairman Haston, you're recognized on this bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee. Right now, teachers are only allowed to use student achievement data from outcomes from summative assessments like EOCs. This bill would allow teachers the ability to use formative assessments like our state-adopted benchmark tests or the state board-approved universal screeners as a component in their evaluations. With that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Are there questions of the sponsor? Chairman Hicks,
Thank you, Chair Lady. and
Representative Shaw has graciously withdrawn his calling the question, so proceed
Thank
with
you.
your
I
question.
appreciate that very much. And I just want to say, Chairman Haston, thank you for bringing this bill. I think it's very timely, and I think that it will help our educators, and I think it's more fair. It's funny, in most school districts, the decisions that are made are usually on these type of assessments. So it only makes sense that we evaluate teachers on these type of assessments. So I think it's a good bill, and I appreciate you bringing it forward.
Chairman Haston, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for those comments. And this is just a way to, some students do better at formative, some students do better at summative. And this just gives us a better way of capturing that and being able to give the student and the teachers credit for the work that they're doing, that students are sometimes better at one and not the other. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none. Representative Shaw again calls the question. All those in favor of House Bill 1860, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. House Bill 1860 moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Chair and Committee.
Next on our calendar, item number 4 is House Bill 2672. We have a request to roll that to last calendar. So without objection, House Bill 2672 roll to last calendar. Item number 5 on our calendar, House Bill 2633 by Representative Cochran. We have a request to roll that 2 weeks. Without objection, roll 2 weeks. That brings us to item number 6, House Bill 1914 by Representative Eldridge. I do not see him, so we will roll that to the Hill. And go on to item number 7 on our calendar by Representative Hall. Representative Hall, you're recognized. You have a motion and a second. So I believe there are 2 amendments on the bill.
That is correct.
Amendment number 1 that I have is drafting code 015784. Is that what you have?
That is correct.
Do we have a motion on the amendment? Motion. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of Amendment 015? Well, before we vote on it, since it rewrites the bill, why don't you explain to us what the amendment does?
Yes, ma'am. House Bill 677 changes the way that we address healthcare. Historically, in the past, if a patient was diagnosed with a disease, the patient would have to follow a regimen of substandard and ineffective drugs. House Bill 677 changes all of that. It's the relationship between the patient and the physician that puts the patient in the best chance of success. And therefore, they're able to receive the most aggressive treatment on the market. And with that, Ms. Chair Lady, I renew my motion.
Are there any questions from the sponsor? And this is the amendment 015784.
Yes, ma'am.
Which does rewrite the bill. All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. The amendment is now attached to the bill. We have a second amendment, I believe. And you have that drafting code, Representative Hall?
015784.
Now, that's the one we just attached.
The 014886.
That's the number I have.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, would you, do you have a motion on that amendment? We have a motion and a second. So tell us what 014886 does, please.
This amendment just eliminates some pre-existing language.
All right, you've heard the explanation. Are there questions? Seeing none, we're voting on the amendment 014886. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Now both amendments are attached, and I think you gave us a very brief explanation of the amendment that rewrote the bill. Is there anything that you would like to add to that?
I have nothing to add unless there's some questions, Chair Lady.
Representative Shaw.
I'd just like to know what the bill does. I didn't get your comment.
Yes, sir.
Representative Hall.
Thank you. This bill simply puts the patient in the best chance of success. Everyone in this state will benefit from this bill if they live long enough. Basically, it eliminates substandards and ineffective drugs that that you used to have to follow a regimen and a protocol. Now, this puts you in the best chance of success. It allows you to eliminate all of that and go straight to the most aggressive treatment on the market.
I think Representative Shaw, you might have heard this referred to before as step therapy. So this would eliminate the requirement to go through those various steps before you got to the drug that had proved to be effective for you. Are there any questions? Further questions? Seeing none, we're voting on House Bill 677. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. House Bill 677 moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank
Item
you.
number 8 on our calendar by Representative Love. Representative Love, we have a motion. We have a second. Representative Love, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair Lady. House Bill 2294, I think, has an amendment with it.
It's traveling with it,
All right,
Representative.
thank you. Financial literacy is something that I believe that all of our middle school students should be exposed to. We talk about the economy that we are seeing today. We talk about the fact that we are having even a digital currency. We're talking about students who are seeing the trading of stocks and bonds, and we're talking about the fact that students should know about insurance and all the other matters dealing with financial literacy. This piece of legislation does not require, but simply urges, encourages every school district to offer a course in financial literacy for students grades 6 through 8. I believe that if students are exposed to this, they'll have a better understanding of decisions that are being made when it comes to credit and borrowing, decisions even about school loans and the ability to go into the high school years, where some of them may be going straight into career after high school with a better working knowledge of how to manage their finances. With that, Madam Chair, I'm available for questions.
Are there questions of the sponsor? Seeing none, Representative Love, I know that Tennessee has one of the highest bankruptcy rates, so I think anything that we can do to help our citizens better understand their personal finances, I congratulate you, commend you for the bill. Without objection, we are voting on House Bill 2294. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? House Bill 2294 moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Chair Lady and members.
Item number 9 on our calendar is House Bill 2600 by Representative McKenzie. Representative McKenzie, you have a motion and a second. You are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill would enable local governments and local government entities to provide more effective and efficient operation and keeping the balance with the attributes of transparency and accountability. Simply put, it allows these local government entities to increase their threshold for if they have a centralized purchasing department from $25,000 to $50,000 for their quote for their procurements. And this is permissive. Each county has discretionary abilities to do that, but it increases it from $25,000 to $50,000 for where formal bids are required.
You've heard the sponsor's explanation. Are there questions? Question has been called on the bill. We're voting on House Bill 2600. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? If you'd like to be recorded as a no, please see the clerk. But the ayes do have it, and your bill moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Chair and Committee.
Item number 10, House Bill 2178 is by Representative Reedy. We have a motion and a second. Representative Reedy, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Lady Chair. House Bill 2178 is an administration bill that allows TEMA to use unmanned aircraft to capture images for the purposes of emergency management purposes. At this time, I'll take any questions that someone might have.
Are there questions of the sponsor? Seeing none, We are voting on House Bill 2178. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. House Bill 2178 moves on to calendar and rules. Item number 11 on our calendar is House Bill 2168 by Leader Lambert. Leader Lambert, you have a motion and a second. You're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chairman and members of the committee. This literally just allows for our state parks that are generating funds to be able to utilize a portion of those funds for upkeep of parks.
Heard the sponsor's explanation. Are there any questions? Question's been called. Question has been called. Seeing no objections, we're voting on House Bill 2168. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. House Bill 2168 moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the committee.
Item number 10 on our calendar is House Bill 2480 by item number 12, I'm sorry. House Bill 2840 by Leader Camper.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. You're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Committee. Madam Chairman, what this bill does is create an opportunity for us to not only save money, but save lives and get patients to the help that they need, particularly mental health that they need. I want to thank Leader Gant for signing on and supporting the bill. I have EMS here if we need them to talk, but it is a program that's currently being used in Memphis that makes sure that the people who need mental health care get taken to the best place for their needs. It would allow for issues that can best be addressed in non-emergency facilities. It is saving TennCare funds by doing this, and I'd appreciate members to vote aye on this bill. With that, Madam Chair, I'll take questions.
Are there questions for Leader Camper? Leader Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. If you don't mind, just a little bit more
Sure.
on, I noticed that, I believe anyways, if we're looking at the fiscal note properly here, that it decreases state expenditures and it appears to draw down federal expenditures, but if you can just talk to us a little bit about the relation of how that happens.
So right now, when emergency is called to the scene, they're required to take them to the emergency room, which costs us more money to service them. With this program, it allowed them to take them to a non-emergency facility and get them the help they need at a reduced cost. So if you saw the first fiscal note, it was at about 3.something million. We ended up saving more money when they took another look at it. And at the same time, the money that's coming in for federal is increased because we're not going to the emergency room. We're going to non-emergent facilities.
Leader Lambert.
Thank you, Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Leader.
Chairman Todd.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Does this also have anything to do with what those technicians are able to do in the field, like communicate with a professional somewhere else and determine that that patient may not have to actually be admitted or taken to an emergency facility, therefore maybe allowing that service to get paid for their trip, but not necessarily, because right now I think my understanding is they only get paid if they bring somebody in. Otherwise, it's a dry run. They don't get any money to compensate for their cost. Is that included here as well? Is that kind of where the savings is coming from?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, it is. And I appreciate the way you explained it because that's exactly right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there further questions? Representative Gillespie.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Leader, you mentioned something about, I just want to make sure I have my facts straight. This is similar to the healthcare navigators that we have in Memphis?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Madam Chair. Yes.
Just making sure. Thank you.
Representative Lynn.
Thank you very much. It's a very interesting idea. What sort of non-emergency facility? Can you give us an example?
Leader Camper.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. So there are mental health facilities in the city of Memphis and really across the state that service. We have for children, we have Lakeside. For adults, we have Memphis Mental Health. And there are several other ones within the city and county where we are taking them.
Representative Lynn? Are there further questions? Representative Sparks?
Thank you, Leader, for the bill. I looked the other day on the crisis mental health calls. I think they've increased like 38% the past 2 years since COVID. Has their calls increased too as far as runs? Do you know?
Leader Camper?
I don't have figures, but I would presume the answer to that is yes, based on what I'm hearing. We have somebody here if you need exact numbers that could testify to that, but the answer would be yes,
All right,
Mr. Chairman.
thank you for the bill.
Question has been called on the bill. Any objection to calling question? Seeing none, we're voting on House Bill 2840. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. House Bill 2840 moves on to calendar and rules. Next on our
you.
calendar is House Bill 2157 by Chairman Gant. We have a motion and a second. Chairman Gant, you're recognized. Leader Gant.
Thank you, Chairman. This is an administration bill, and all it's doing is creating an Institute for American Civics at the University of Tennessee at Knoxville.
And Leader Gant, I believe this is associated with or at least initially with the Howard Baker Institute. Is that correct?
Yeah. Would you want me to elaborate a lot on the bill, or?
However the
But
spirit
yes,
moves you, sir.
yes, the answer is yes to that question. Yes.
All right, thank you. Are there any other questions for Leader Gant? Question has been called. All those in favor of House Bill 2157 moving on to calendar and rules, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. 2157 is now moved to calendar and rules. Next on our agenda is item number 14, House Bill 2184, all by Representative Garrett. We have a motion and a second. Representative Garrett, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is an administration bill that's fully funded by the governor, and it is an overhaul and improvement to our DUI interlock system. And as this committee may know, that's the interlock system that prevents folks that are currently under the influence of alcohol. They have to blow into a device, and it does not allow their car to go off. So it's a highly successful program, and this makes it a little bit more efficient. So with that, I'll be glad to take any questions. Otherwise, I'll renew my motion.
Questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, you guys are easy today. All those in favor of House Bill 2184, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. House Bill 2184 moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee.
That brings us to item number 16, House Bill 2271 by Representative Ogles. We have a motion. We have a motion and a second. Representative Ogles, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There is an amendment on the bill, drafting code 016907.
All right, so that's the amendment that you wish to attach to the bill and not 015926. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Would you like to explain what the amendment does?
Yes, Madam Chair. Thank you. Thank you, members of the committee. This late amendment added the offenses that we've voted on last night under Bill 2244 of especially aggravated rape of a child, and grave torture to the list of items that can be for criminal asset forfeiture, where we can take assets that are used in commission of the crime. It added that to the list of kidnapping, aggravated kidnapping, especially aggravated kidnapping, aggravated rape of a child, aggravated rape, commission of an act of terrorism, involuntary labor servitude, and trafficking for forced labor servitude, and trafficking for commercial sex acts. There's also the change that the committee will be interested in. We inserted the language that kind of mirrored the bill from last year, Chairman Doggett's piece of legislation that put restitution to the victim first when the monies would be distributed. Right now, items seized or taken during the commission of the crime, it goes back to the agencies and the DAs, and then to the general fund. This amendment would ensure that restitution to the victim was paid first before those assets were used to pay for the function of government. With that, I'll take any questions, Madam Chair. Thank you.
And I would like to clarify, Representative Ogles, it was the latest amendment, but it wasn't a late amendment. It was timely filed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And this is my last piece of legislation, so I do appreciate that greatly.
Are there questions of the sponsor about the amendment? Seeing none, we're voting on Amendment Drafting Code 016907. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. The amendment is attached. And I believe that amendment rewrites the bill. So you've heard the sponsor's explanation. Are there questions on the bill as amended? Seeing none, we're voting on House Bill 2271. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. House Bill 2271 moves on to calendar and rules. So your last bill is on its way, Representative Ogles.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Item number 6 is where we're back to. It was previously rolled to the Hill. Our sponsor is still not here, so without objection, we will roll that 1 week. And that does bring us to the end of our calendar. With no further business, we are adjourned.